This is Mayor Valensky with Driving Markets. Let's have a look at the week ahead. So in the UK on Monday, you've got UK PMI manufacturing and UK PMI on services. What is that? That is the Purchasing Managers Index for activity in the manufacturing sector and in the service sector in the UK. Remember, as far as the UK is concerned, there is a descent overall in industrial production and the general economic state of the UK. Too much money going out, not enough money being spent on developing the economy. On Tuesday, you've got a big number out in the US, which is the Conference Board Consumer Confidence. Now, consumer confidence is an essential ingredient for running an economy. If the consumer is confident that his mortgage is going to be paid and he has enough money coming in, then he'll go out and spend. And that spending is translated into obviously earnings for corporations when you're buying their goods. However, there has been a drop in consumer confidence recently, especially with the University of Michigan Consumer Confidence Report that came out last month, much lower than expected. So the markets will be watching overall, where is consumer confidence and where is it heading? That is a big number, and that is one to watch in the US on Tuesday. With Trump now at the White House, he is now taking steps to cut government spending. As a result of that, a lot of jobs are being lost and people are a bit nervous where the immediate future is going. Overall, you will see probably an uplift in financial markets and economic activity towards the second to third half of 2025. On Wednesday, you've got UK inflation expected to come in more or less at 3%, the same as the previous month. However, if it comes in higher than expected, then the Bank of England under Andrew Bailey, which again is a very weak governor of the Bank of England, but Andrew Bailey is probably going to unlikely to cut interest rates, and that will keep the pound up there as a stronger currency want to go to when interest rates are high. So that's one to watch as far as the UK is concerned. In the US, you've got the durable goods number out. What's durable goods? Those are the number of automobiles, the number of washing machines, stuff that lasts for 3 years. So durable good orders. How healthy is the industry or the sector that has goods that last for a long time? Big one to watch, because that's another indication regarding overall health in the economy. On Thursday, you got US GDP, gross domestic product, expected to come in at 2.3%. There is fears that the gross domestic product over the coming months will be negative due to Donald Trump's tariffs, trade wars, and obviously sending migrants or illegal migrants back to their homes, whether it's Haiti or it's in Mexico, and that could end up reducing the overall activity short term of the US economy, especially since there is now government waste being cut away, and that's more jobs being laid off. And GDP was made up partly of government job salaries, was included in the GDP figure in the US. So you could see that number fall also. Then you've got initial jobless claims on Thursday. You can expect initial jobless claims to continue rising as all of those people who have not been part of the unemployment roll will now come in to be unemployed because they'll start actively seeking work. Friday, we've got personal spending, big one, bit like consumer spending. How much is the consumer actually have in terms of personal income? And then you've got the most favored measure of inflation, which is the PCE, the personal consumption expenditure. That's the most favored measure by the Fed when it comes to measuring inflation. If that moves up, going to have dollar strength, and obviously markets will fall as a result. And then the big one is the University of Michigan Consumer Confidence. I did mention that a little bit earlier. That again is a measure overall of where the consumer's confidence is within the marketplace. You've got two consumer confidence reports next week. Conference Board on Tuesday. On Friday, you've got the University of Michigan Consumer Confidence Report. Both of those are ones to watch because the consumer is the central mechanism within the economy to get overall production and profits within industry and corporations up and running. So that'd be one to watch. It has hinted a little bit, but we do expect it to start getting better going forward. Again, I did mention towards the second half of 2025, you'll probably see GDP rise and employment rise within the US. This is Mayor Valensky with Driving Markets. Week ahead. Catch you later.